Do you buy brand new physical games versus brand new digital games? You would think more people would buy digital games. And according to Sony, 85% of them bought no. That's not it. So if you haven't heard already, Xbox has changed leaderships and they're looking to reverse a lot of the decisions they made in the past few years. So lowering the price of Game Pass, bringing back Xbox exclusives back to their consoles, maybe even to just not be Sony since they have the PC market. Also, Sony has decided that in January of 2028, there'll be no physical games. Because all these companies have to go through Sony to make physical games, there will be no more physical games. Sony is saying, if you're making games for our console, only digital. They can only be digital. There's no physical at all. And that's a big deal. I've ranted about it before, but the point of this video is actually more on the sense that Sony's only able to do this because they have no competition. So let's go back into mid 2000s. PS3 and Xbox are releasing their consoles. Sony announces that it will come out in 2006. It'll be $600 for the 20GB version and $700 for 8GB, translating to about $800 to $950. An insane price, but Sony was so in the lead that they thought they couldn't be touched. Xbox, they already got their experience with the original Xbox, some failures and whatever. They saw this as their opportunity because, again, they are a competitor to Sony. So Microsoft decided to completely undercut them and they launched the Xbox for $300 for the arcade, so there was no hard drive, $400 at the 20GB model, and it was releasing a year prior. So totally undercutting Sony, saying, hey, we're going to release a similar powered system at a lower, more affordable price, and we're going to release it sooner, and we're going to have online features that totally dwarf what Sony had, because Sony promised a bunch of online features that never came true, while Xbox had like Xbox Live, party chat, things that did not exist on PlayStation. And that was that competition. Now, Microsoft took the lead. Sony was just trying to compete now. They were back to being neck and neck, but Xbox was really in the lead. So that's why you hear so many people talk about the Xbox 360 PS3 generation. It was one of the best generations because the competition was so fierce. I mean, if we take all the exclusive released just on the PS3 alone, it will dwarf all exclusives released in the past 15 years. That's how good we got so many classic games. Last of Us, Uncharted, multiple Ratchet and Clank games. And this was at a time where they would actually release sequels at a decent pace, not like 5 years. And whatever. There was competition and we as the consumer won. We not only did we have the option of choice, choosing what console is best for us, but we had all these companies just trying to make sure they keep their consumer base. Because if you don't know, it's not a one and done deal with video games. It's not just like if you buy a PlayStation, they win. They don't make any money off the console sales. Sometimes they lose money. The whole point is for them to make money off you buying the games that are released on that console, microtransactions, etc., etc. Not only advertise a product that was good enough for them to buy, but advertise a product that was good enough for them to keep buying on. It's a platform to spend money on. Now let's move on to the PS4 and Xbox One. One thing I hope that Microsoft changes though, their naming. It sucks. I'm a gamer. I am so in tune with what goes on in the gaming space, and yet I can't keep track with all the dumbass Xbox names. When PS4 and Xbox One was being released, Microsoft announced online only DRM, no used games, Kinect always being on, so many totally invasive anti-consumer moves. Repeating what happened in the mid-2000s, Sony decides to flip the script and totally undercut Xbox in one of the best comebacks in gaming history.
This is how you share your games on PS4.
Thanks.
When a gamer buys a PS4 disc, they have the rights to use that copy of the game. They can trade in the game at retail, sell it to another person, lend it to a friend, or keep it forever. In addition, PlayStation 4 disc-based games don't need to be connected online to play. or for any type of authentication. If you enjoy playing single-player games offline, PS4 won't require you to check in online periodically.
And so you see, they're totally advertising, they're totally making fun of Microsoft for not allowing used games, but they're advertising like, hey, like, we still support physical media. We're being pro-consumer. Then Sony took back the lead. They totally won that generation by a landslide. Later, Xbox reversed their decision, but it was already too late. They lost customer trust, and Sony had already built up back the consumer base with the PS3 to the point where the PS3 and Xbox 360 were actually pretty neck and neck. So this just sold people like, hey, I got a PS3, I love it, I'm going to PS4. That brings us into the last generation. The last generation finally saw crossplay and Discord servers be added. Discord servers were actually this generation. I believe crossplay servers were last generation. That took so long to get. And the first reason is because Microsoft didn't allow it back when Sony had the lead, or back when Microsoft didn't allow it back when they were truly in the lead. Then Sony is in the lead, Microsoft is trying to push them for it, Sony's saying no. But it's because of this competition we were finally able to get a feature like that. We need that as a consumer. We were also able to get Discord because Xbox offered Discord, and but now I don't believe Sony sees Xbox as a competitor. Nintendo's off doing their own thing, and we can see how both Sony and Nintendo are doing anti-consumer friendly strategies because they have such a chokehold on the market. Nintendo is, yes, another gaming console, the Switch and Switch 2, but many people have a PC and a Switch or a PS5 and a Switch. They're very interchangeable. There is no other Switch experience though. Nintendo has so many exclusives, so many different kinds of games, just the unique features of the Switch and Switch 2. You can only get the experience on the Switch. So they have their own chokehold on the market. And now, because of what Xbox is doing, shooting themselves in the foot every single time, digging their own grave, Sony has a chokehold on the market. And that's why Sony's able to do something like this. But to just completely eliminate physical games, which I understand by now you might be thinking, I buy all my games digital anyway. What's the big deal? This still affects you. Sony is looking to completely erase the secondary market. That means these games that we see for 70 bucks at a time, gaming will essentially get more expensive. Whether you like physical or not, gaming for you will essentially get more expensive. Now, I can go in deeper on this, but that's the main point. And Sony knows that. Sony makes more money off digital purchases than physical because they don't have to deal with a lot of the bull crap that happens with physical. You don't have to ship anything, you don't have to produce a certain amount of copies. It's just put it on the store. And they gain so much more revenue from that. And they're looking to just completely erase physical games so they can get more revenue and say, hey, you know what? We'll only discount games to half off now. And what choice do you have? If you want to buy a game, you gotta buy it through Sony. If Sony's setting the price, then that's what you have to deal with. And now this might not affect every single game, but we're definitely gonna see kind of like how the Switch is. Like games are gonna be more expensive on the PlayStation. And then even if you don't, if you go to Steam or whatever and they have better discounts, we're gonna see Sony exclusive titles never get cheaper. The main point is that Sony is able to do this because they have no competition. But they were very bold and in a sense very stupid. They are discounting Xbox so much, and they did this before. We can genuinely see history repeat itself, and the biggest comeback of all time if Xbox does this. This is why I say competition is important and there is hope. Xbox has already built up a very, very good emulation system for old games. So now you can take your old discs, put them on an Xbox and a new Xbox and just play them. You can play so many online games are so active that shouldn't be. They're like the old Call of Duties, 16 years old. You can still find games on there, though it might be hard for sure. They could genuinely see such a big turnaround if they were to just do exactly what Sony did, and that's say, hey, we're supporting physical games, we're supporting emulation even more now. So now you can take, I believe you can take your disc and play through digitally. They're gonna say, hey, we're gonna expand that library. So we're gonna do Xbox One, Xbox Series X, but also more Xbox 360 original Xbox games. And if they really wanted to go the extra mile, and I genuinely think if they went this extra mile, it would totally annihilate Sony. Sony would have to like be Sony would be frantic. Everyone would be buying an Xbox. It doesn't matter if you're a physical or digital gamer. You would buy the Xbox if they did this one thing, and that is if they not only allowed but required games that have a physical copy. So if you have the physical copy of a game, you could run it without installing it. Now you're probably thinking, like, Chris, that never happens. That hasn't happened. Ever since the PS4 and Xbox One, that hasn't happened. You're wrong. Companies don't want to do it. They can. The Battlefield 6 released. You could run it off just the disc. You didn't need to install it. And the biggest thing is that we have such a problem, and it hasn't been solved for whatever reason, having no hard drive space. I have a PS5. I have this PS5 right here. You can't see it, but I've got a 5 terabyte hard drive. I have a lot of games. I have a 5 terabyte hard drive that can only run PS4 games and a 2 terabyte SSD that can run both PS4, PS5 games. I still run out of space. I still run out of space. I have all physical copies. Like a huge portion of the games I have are physical copies. But if Xbox were to do this one thing, so many people would be like, "Oh my gosh, now I can just worry about hard drive space when I buy digital games. I can buy all these physical games and not worry about space. I can just take them in and out. It'd be so simple." And people are also getting tired of their physical or their people are also getting tired of their digital libraries being taken away. And I've been hearing so much discussion over digital libraries and how people have really old copies of video games and music, and they've lost more to digital. They've lost more of their digital copies than physical copies because physical copies, even though they're supposed to have disk rot and things like that and they degrade, they still work. Bringing it back to my point, these companies only play good guy or bad guy depending on where they are. But that's why we need the competition. We need that good guy, bad guy flip flop because we as a consumer win. If Xbox were to do this, I promise they would take back so much of the market share. I can't say they totally win. They might just be neck and neck, but they would take so much of it back. Or Sony could just match them. They could say, "Hey, you know what? Maybe we can't really do the whole um running games off of just a disc or whatever. I know that's up to just the company that develops it, but it is a theory. It could happen. It definitely could happen. Sony might say, "Hey, we've got such a lead. We can't lose this. Stocks, whatever, investors, whatever. We're gonna reverse our decision to exclude physical games. So we will allow physical games again, just like they are now." I mean, Sony has lost a lot of trust. This is the time for Xbox to come back. I understand a lot of us don't like the things that come with console exclusivity. I understand that if you want to play Halo with your friend but you don't have a PlayStation, like it sucks. Like I get it. But I mean, let's be honest here. Most of the games coming out these days are already on every console. Minecraft is on everything, Call of Duty is on everything. So life won't really change for the foreseeable future. We've got crossplay. If you're the type to play NBA or Call of Duty, it won't affect you. But if you're the type to run out of hard drive space, now you're going to win. You could buy GTA 6, the 300 gigabyte game, and you could probably get the disc and probably have it run for 100 gigabytes. They could probably put a lot of that storage on a disc and then have you offload some of that space. Like, there is no losing here. We will only get choices, and choice is so important. Now, if you can't tell, I am a Sony fanboy. I like Sony. I've loved them since I was a kid. I love a lot of their IPs. Their consoles are always great. But I'm objective. I'm a very objective person. They haven't been great for a while. They only release like one or two exclusives a year. They do lots of anti-consumer friendly things. They raised the price on an already like not needed service, the PlayStation Plus. It was $60 before, and now it's $80. Like I hate to say it, but Sony's not the good guy, and Microsoft could be. Microsoft just isn't even a guy. They're like such a side character right now. It's unbelievable. Yeah, let me know. And also, a question I really want to know is, do you buy digital games mainly? Now, I buy a lot of digital games, but what I'm talking about is, do you buy brand new physical games versus brand new digital games. You would think more people would buy digital games. And according to Sony, 85% of them bought no. That's not it. If you look at all the Sony exclusives, a lot of them have either 50-50 even or majority of people buying the physical game. So let me know. I buy lots of digital games, but typically I'm getting them for free or I'm getting them for a deep discount, like $5-10. I don't think I've ever paid more than $20 for a game that's digital. So let me know. I'd love to hear. Do you care? Does this unaffect you? Are you on PC? How's Steam? Steam is amazing. I wish I could buy a PlayStation-like console for Steam. I would do that. I just personally prefer console. And if this is your first time watching, please like, comment, subscribe. I stream 5 days a week on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. So I'm going back and playing a lot of retro games that I either grew up with or some new games. There's a game called Wild Arms. I'm trying to play either 3 or 4 on stream. It's a new experience for me because I do love playing older games too. And come join. Chat is always fun. It's always a good time just to hang out. And yeah, see you guys later.